Hi guys. So I did the plague for my book, and I decided to do my research on the idea of n- isolation and how it would affect people, especially when it comes to n- their psychological reactions and ultimately finding their purpose amongst this, or their lack of purpose, so to say. So here's the different responses to have you ever n- dealt with the isolation and the epidemic of the plague. Okay, so what causes the isolation in the plague is ultimately there's a outbreak in the town of Oron, and it's not a normal plague an epidemic, so no one really has a cure. No one really knows where it came from. And for you, those who don't know what the plague is, it's the Black Death that killed off a third of the population in Europe hundreds of years ago. So ultimately, the town got locked down because they had no control over it. There was no one in or out, so anyone who was out of town got separated from their families for a long period of time. And communication was cut off other than a telegram once in a while between loved ones, and it could only be 12 words long. So, because they couldn't send letters because they were afraid the germs would get spread that through that source. So, ultimately, there's a lot of effects of isolation on the mind. Usually, it starts off with individuals feeling anxiety and grief and loss, and this need for human connection from being separated from their loved ones. And that can go from anywhere from an individual, like where just one individual is completely cut off from everybody else in society, which can usually cause the most ultimate form of effects of isolation, which can ultimately lead to going crazy. But for when you're just talking about a community, like you still have people around you, but you're not connected to those people that you really care about, you can face just these smaller things like they face in the book. And as a community, you feel all those things that an individual would feel in a sense of isolation, but they would also gain this distrust. So this distrust can come from the fact that you need human connection in order to be human. Humans crave this. We're like a pack mentality, so we can't be away from other people. But at the same time, your fight or flight instinct will kick in, and you you either fight to be with these people or you run from them. And you don't trust anybody because anybody could be carrying this disease. Anybody could give it to you at any time. You don't know who has it yet and just isn't showing signs, or who's trying to hide it so that you don't know, and you're this you have this inner fear that you're gonna get this disease and you're gonna die, and your body and your mind will fight you against that and try to keep you away from other people, even though you desperately need other people in order to keep your sanity. Which you can see in the one resource I used by Van Bortle for psychosocial effects that happened with the Ebola outbreak that happened a couple years ago. So ultimately, they face the idea of destiny versus free will. Um, a lot of them come to the idea that is their destiny. They come to the simple fact that it's their destiny to end up dying. Oh, sorry about that. My cat just jumped on my computer. But they come to terms that dying by the plague or just being stuck in this isolated town is just what their life is going to come to. And what destiny means is it's pretty much the ending result of all your life choices. It's what everything's going to come to in the very end. And many believe that this destiny is out of their control, but they forget that it comes from your life's choices. So any choice you make will affect the outcome of what your destiny is. So that's where free will comes into play. It's this freedom of choice, which we've looked at a lot through existentialism in this past term, these last 10 weeks. So each choice will lead to a different destiny, different path. So what you choose to do will affect where your destiny leads to. And that's where we go with this next slide, where the townspeople, which are just the random extras, you don't really hear any specific names other than a few. But But the townspeople, their first reaction was they don't really process it. They kind of ignore it. They don't want to believe that this is happening around them. And they go on, and it becomes more and more real slowly. They become aware of it, but they choose ignorance. Um, they want to pretend like everything's fine. They just go on living their daily lives. They don't want to do anything. And the third reaction is more of like when this panic and these effects of isolation really start taking effect. And they start trying to escape or try to bring their loved ones in, even though they know that they'll put everybody else at risk for contracting this disease, which leads to death, and that they don't have a cure for it. So there's nothing. So if they were to risk that, they'd be putting thousands and millions of lives at risk, depending on how far this outbreak would reach. Um, and eventually they just kind of come to terms with the plague and their current circumstances, and they just accept it. They believe it's out of their control, out of their power to do anything about it. So they just go on trying to live life as normally as they can with all these restrictions in place and don't try to do anything for the plague itself to help get rid of it, help ease it down so that the isolation can be broken. They just they ignore it. They don't want to believe it's there. They want to pretend like this isn't happening to them. On a opposite side of the scale, there was one character named Conrad who at first in the very beginning of the book he tried to commit suicide. I don't really remember why he tried to do that. I don't think they specified it. But then the plague hits and the town's staying in isolation. And instead of showing all these signs of isolation, he actually seems to like grow in it. Like he takes advantage of the epidemic. He becomes like the main person for the escape business. So he would illegally try to help people escape the town one way or another, so they can get back to their loved ones. And he became very profitable off of this. And when the plague comes to an end, he loses his mind. Like the effects really start to take effect, and you really see this in the end of the book when all of a sudden the towns open back up. Everything's rushing around, and he just randomly starts shooting at people on the street. He just completely loses his mind. He's not ready to face reality without the lockdown and without the epidemic keeping everyone's mind off of what he's doing. And he just can't handle it. And he even mentions that if the plague hadn't have happened, he would have been arrested prior to the plague outbreak. So the next character I want to look at, Dr. Rue. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He is my personal favorite character. He is the narrator of the book, but you don't find that out to the end. He has the effects of isolation, which you can see through his. He wants to be with his wife again, but he knows that he can't, and he comes to terms with that. He tries to keep an objective mindset, trying to help keep his mind at ease so he can focus on his job. He takes a different approach than Conrad. He tries to make the most out of what he can. He does what the most he can do for the plague. He doesn't sound like the townspeople where he just tries to ignore it. He's fully aware of it, and he's fully trying to act on it to make it disappear. So to follow these beliefs of being a doctor and need to help people, especially in times of great illness, he follows this and what he thinks is right, and he doesn't make any exceptions for anybody, no matter what their circumstances are, which we'll discuss later in a future slide. He does so by working tirelessly throughout the entire epidemic, and he works long hours. He works in the hospital, and he does home visits. He helps lead the Sanitation League, which is just a group of volunteers trying to make sure that the plague doesn't go further than it needs to go, and that it helps recede instead of spread more. Actually, there's a quote, sometimes just carrying on is the superhuman achievement, which we see with Dr. Rue a lot. He doesn't really change anything he did before, other than he adds the hospital hours onto what he was already doing. He knows that life, he just needs to continue what his job is, and that's to be a doctor and to take care of the sick. He stays true to that. He doesn't really try to falter from his beliefs. He doesn't try to be the superhero. He was just doing what he believes is right and following his humanity. Okay, and then next there's Rambert. Um, he's a journalist that was kind of just visiting the town. He's a stranger there. He ends up just getting locked in with everybody else, and this makes him very upset when he first goes into lockdown because we find out that he has a loved one that's somewhere else, and he tries to find throughout the majority of the book. He's trying to find ways to get out of Orin. He first tries the legal methods, going through all these processes, and it kind of becomes his purpose for the first half of the book. Um, but he follows all these legal methods. He tries to talk to Dr. Rue into giving him some kind of form of paper that says that he doesn't have this disease, that he's safe to leave, and that he won't spread the disease if he leaves. And that's what I was talking about with Dr. Rue. He wouldn't make any exceptions. He told Rambert, I can't make any promises that you won't contract this disease from the time you leave my office to the time you get to the government officials that can release you. And then when the legal methods fail him, he tries to go to illegal methods, which was going through contract and trying to find an escape illegally and just sneaking out. While he's waiting for this escape plan to go through, he joins the sanitation league, just kind of give him something to do. But ultimately, he realizes that he feels his guilt for trying to leave. So even though he finally found an escape plan that would work, he backs out to try to stick it out because of his guilty conscience. And it becomes his purpose of trying to help with the plague and bringing it to an end so that everybody can leave or their loved ones can return to them. And then next we have Taru. He kind of saw that no one was really taking this seriously, that they needed to find people to help bring the plague to an end, and they needed to do it sooner or later, otherwise there'd be more and more and more deaths. So he takes on the responsibility of finding volunteers for the sanitation league. And he works tirelessly to do this and works with Dr. Rue, and these volunteers help prevent the spread of it, and eventually they find a cure for it so that the town can come out of isolation again. These are my references. Yeah, so have a good day, everybody. I'm almost out of the free trial time, so hope you guys enjoyed your term, and have a good night.